everybody, Sean from Media Assault here, and I apologize I haven't had a video out in a little bit. Haven't been feeling too well. Actually didn't go to work today because I haven't been feeling too well, so I decided I'd watch a movie and thought, hey, I'll get a video online. So movie I watched today was Hellraiser, which I picked up on Blu-ray last month, and it's been a while since I'd seen it, so I was glad I watched it because I hadn't remembered most of it. So it's a movie that was made in 1987, and it was actually the directorial debut of Clive Barker, who is well known in horror circles. It was also written by him as well. It was based on a novella that he wrote called The Hellbound Heart, which unfortunately I haven't read. And the movie stars Andrew Robinson, Claire Higgins, Ashley Laurence, and Sean Chapman. And Andrew Robinson plays a man named Larry, who with his new wife Julia move into an old house that used to be lived in by Frank, his brother. Now Frank had obtained this box that's sort of like a Rubik's Cube from hell that he obtained in North Africa. And when he solved the box, he opened the box, these demons called Cenobites came out and basically tore him to shreds. When Larry and Julia move into this new house, Larry cuts his hand while they're moving in, and his blood drips on the floor. And the blood reawakens or sort of renourishes the remains of Frank, who was killed in the room. And Frank and Julia had an affair before Frank's death, and so the reanimated corpse of Frank approaches Julia when Larry's not around and asks if she'll help him re-energize himself with the blood of just anybody who she could happen to bring up into the room. So she launches this scheme to basically lure men back to the house to kill them so that their blood can re-energize Frank. Now Frank, by doing this, is basically going against what the Cenobites have done. And if the Cenobites learn that he has come back to life, they're going to come back and get him and kill him permanently. Making things sort of complicated is the fact that Larry's daughter, Kirsty, played by Ashley Laurence, catches Julia luring these men back to the house. And Julia and Kirsty don't get along very well, so it sets up sort of an interesting confrontation. That may not sound like too horrible of a movie, especially for a horror film, but the special effects in this film are extremely graphic, and there's a lot of gore, and it's really well done. This movie was made for only $1 million, and it definitely doesn't look like that. It looks like it had a much higher budget. Eventually it went on to make about $20 million, so it was an extremely successful film, and it has spawned I don't know how many sequels over the course of time. I have actually lost track after Hellraiser 4. I think there may have been 2 other ones after that. I'm not entirely sure. There is a remake of Hellraiser scheduled to be made, or at least it was scheduled to be made in 2012. Last I heard, that production has stalled, but I'm not 100% sure on that. It was supposed to be directed by Patrick Lussier, I believe is how you pronounce it, who did the My Bloody Valentine remake in 2009. And he also did the Dracula 2000 movies and its subsequent sequels as well. Not a lot to say about this movie that hasn't been said by probably hundreds of other people. If you're a horror fan, this is a must-see. You really need to have this film in your collection. The Blu-ray looks quite nice. It was done by Anchor Bay, and I thought it looked spectacular. One of the main reasons that I did want to review this film is because on April 29th in Dallas, there is going to be the Texas Frightmare Weekend horror convention down there, and I've actually purchased tickets and will be heading down to not only see Clive Barker, who's going to be there, but Ashley Laurence and Doug Bradley, who plays Pinhead, who is not called Pinhead in this movie, by the way. He's called the lead Cenobite, but this guy right here. They're all going to be down there. So I'm going to be heading down to Dallas at the end of April to meet all those people. So If I had to give this movie a rating, I would actually give it about an 8.5 out of 10. Well, I will give it an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's an excellent movie, extremely creepy. It may seem a little tame in terms of scares for some people nowadays, but I think it's just a really well-constructed film that tells an interesting story and takes the time to set it up for a really nice payoff at the end. I can't say that so much about the sequels. It's been a while since I've seen any of the sequels. But this, as a standalone film, is well worth seeing. So there you go. There's my review of Hellraiser. And hope to see some of you down at the Texas Frightmare Weekend if you're going to be there. So see you.